Nobody has ever called me a dirty Indian to my face, and yet it has been a label that I have tried to erase from my mind for as long as I can remember. No amount of education, professional success, or achievement has been able to prevent this label from permeating every aspect of my existence. This is not to say that I have not experienced racism. What began in grade 4 as taunts about being a chief and war whoops in the hallways transformed into more subtly subversive statements and implied discrimination as I grew older. Because of my education, I was not like the rest of them. My choice not to drink was likely because I was in AA. The fact that I didn't look the way some people believed an Indigenous person should look meant that I had to endure countless conversations about the problems with those Native students. And I admit, there were times when I just smiled wanly and remained silent. Last year, I helped to facilitate a class discussion for educators about Indigenous perspectives on research. At the end of the discussion, notes were posted on the wall and presented to the class. As the last group finished their presentation, I noticed that on the bottom of the page was written, "Dirty aspects of Indigenous people are not represented." At that moment, the room was completely silent, but the words deafened me. And then a single voice wavered. I am uncomfortable with the use of the word dirty to describe Indigenous people. The voice was my own, and I spoke because I knew that my silence would give everyone else permission to remain silent too. My objection to the word dirty resulted in the decision to scribble it out on the wall. But scribbling out the words did not erase them from my memory. A conversation began, one that I don't remember much of. What I do remember was the sound of another voice explaining that we try to focus on the positive aspects of Indigenous people and communities because focusing on the challenges does not help us to move forward. And I am grateful to that voice. It reminded me of the impact that a single voice can have, and it helped me to understand that I was not alone. I have always tried to find the positive in the adversity I have faced, but it was not easy for me to find it in this particular experience. Eventually, what I came to understand was that perhaps I needed this experience to be reminded that it was possible to be highly educated and an educator and still remain unconscious of the power of the use of words like dirty to describe aspects of human beings. And perhaps I needed to be reminded of how far we still need to go in our education about how to demonstrate respect for those around us, even when we do not necessarily understand their realities or experiences. The truth is that those words should never have been written in the class. All human beings have challenges in their lives, and these should never be labeled dirty. The truth is that those words should never have been posted on the wall of an educational institution where attempts to achieve understanding and respect, particularly for Indigenous people, has been made such a high priority. The truth is that in a classroom of educators pursuing the highest possible level of education, my voice should not have been the only one to object. And the truth is that I will never be able to erase the devastation that I felt in the moments following that class. But it was not for those reasons that I chose to object. I objected in the hopes that no student ever has to look up on the wall of his or her classroom and see the word dirty associated with any aspect of his or her being. I objected in the hopes that the next time my voice will not be the only one to speak out. And I objected because I know that in order for people to have their assumptions challenged, I cannot remain silent.